Welcome to the Horse Speak Book Club. I'm your host and co-founder of Horse Speak, Laura Wilsey, and we are embarking on a journey through the Horse Speak Trilogy. The Horse Speak team is dedicated to giving horses a voice and being their well-deserved advocates. We provide evidence-based knowledge of equine body language that is intrinsic, observable, and repeatable. We offer online courses, a weekly club where we analyze our members' videos from herd dynamics to riding, and in-person clinics. To learn more, visit horsespeakacademy.com. This is a judgment-free zone. Everyone here has a varied horsemanship background, and we ask to help keep the environment safe so no one feels shamed in any way. And thank you for being here today. And we are starting on page 36, the 13 buttons of Horse Speak. To make Horse Speak a little easier to begin to understand as we move through the different steps in this book, Sharon has reduced the horse's language to 13 buttons located all over the horse's body. Think of these buttons as the ABCs of Horse Speak. Although you will most likely recognize at least a few of these cue zones that you may have learned about in the past as you acquired horse knowledge and skills, don't get hung up on trying to use them to cue your horse. The hidden reason these cue zones work so well is that these buttons are embedded in the horse's code. The moment his mama starts teaching him to communicate with her and with others. Even though there are actually more than 13 buttons that horses use when talking to each other, the ones Sharon teaches us for Horse Speak are the easiest to begin to understand, to observe in horses, and to incorporate into your own communication with them. Sharon has broken this subject down into the simplest components in her effort to be clear. But as you read the list below, do consider that horses do not necessarily start with button number 1 and then proceed systematically through the button number 13 in order. Instead, they use whatever buttons they need to convey the message they want to send. In addition, keep in mind that horses can use each button in both beckoning and sending manner, as well as simple neutral message that may not require movement as a part of the reply. Greeting button. The greeting button is located on the front of the muzzle and is used in greeting another. Similar to a human handshake, much information is exchanged in greeting via this button. This button is also used for check-ins and as a friendly gesture. Number 2 is the play button, located on the side of the horse's face, just slightly above where the ring of the bit sits, which when touched, the play button simply means I want to play with you. Pushing on this button, as so many of us have when telling a horse to stop crowding us, is actually a direct invitation to have your space invaded. Number 3, go away face button, now known as the cheek button in the third book. This button is found at the back of the horse's large round cheek under his eye and ear. It is easy to identify when your horse is wearing a standard leather or nylon halter, as it often aligns with the location of the metal ring just below the halter buckle. Horses use this button to gain headspace from each other. Using it alone without any other Horse Speak suggestions simply means give my face a little space. Some horses that are used to being space invaders may require several touches at this point before they understand that you mean permanently. Number 4 is a friendly button. Right under the horse's forelock, where the long hairs come to a point, is the friendly button. The friendly button may be easier to recognize if you have a horse that likes to have you rub him there. However, abused or fearful horses will often be guarded about this spot. Sharon's worked with many damaged horses that defend this spot. Horses nuzzle each other on this button when they have really bonded, and a horse that is bonded to you may rub his head on the front of your body. The horse is connecting with you using his friendly button. Lightly rubbing this spot in reply is a great way to share to the horse you are indeed ready to have a closer friendship with him. But know that you do not have to let him knock you over during this exchange. Number 5, the follow me button. The follow me button is located on the horse's upper neck about 4 inches down from the pole. A mother horse will nudge her infant here to tell him it is time to follow her. By pressing your hand into this spot, then removing it completely and beginning to walk away carefully and softly, you are inviting a horse to follow. Number 6, mid-neck button. The mid-neck button is used between horses to demonstrate hierarchy. It means move your face, neck, and front feet away from my bubble of personal space completely. Number 7, shoulder button. The shoulder button can also be used to demonstrate hierarchy, but when a horse is aiming solely at this button rather than the mid-neck button, he is keeping the intensity low and less formal. He is saying, hey buddy, give me a little room here, okay? This button is also used in lining up tandem movement when a pair of horses is going somewhere together. In this case, the button says, stick with me and let's move as one. Number 8, backup button. The backup button is used when a horse wants to claim the space in front of another. When pressed, it tells a horse he has to back out of the space he is in. The point of the shoulder is where the button is located. Number 9 is the grooming button. We have all seen horses groom the top of each other's withers. The grooming button located at the withers is absolutely about connection and affection. And so, Violet, if you could read the rest of the buttons.
Okay.
Thank you.
Number 10, girth button. Horses can ask for space from front to back and from side to side. The girth button asks for more space on one side, and it can also ask for more speed. For instance, if a horse is sending another horse away and wants to pick up intensity, he may aim quickly at this button to say, go away faster. However, this button is also used as a target area for the young foal's nose. When his nose is at the girth button, he is in the center of mom, protected by all 4 hooves and easily maneuvered. Because of this, the girth button can also be used as a connection zone. 11, jump up button. About 6 inches back from the girth button is the jump up button. This vulnerable area is susceptible to predators, and horses may show intense protectiveness here. Aiming at this spot tells a horse to jump up, kick out, or scoot sideways. Stallions spend time wooing a mare in the area of this button as a way of asking her, please do not jump up. 12, hip drive button. One of the few buttons that is used almost exclusively as a sending message. The hip drive button is located at the apex of the pelvic rise at the top of a horse's rump. Horses have 2 ways of showing leadership. Follow me or move in front of me while I drive you. To drive another horse forward is to ultimately tell that horse that you are the rear guard and will deal with predators that are coming up behind. Yield over button. The yield over button is found in the hollow above the horse's stifle. It simply tells the other horse to move his hind end over and out of the way. Aiming at this button keeps the peace when horses pass by each other and prevents kicking out, essentially saying, I won't kick if you won't. This button can also be used to turn the young foal around to face his mom, focusing his attention back on her. When grown horses use it in this way, they are telling each other to stay focused and look to their leader rather than getting worried about what is out there. To this effect, this button can help a horse calm down when massaged gently.
Thank you, Violet.
Sure.
I'm going to read What Are the Buttons from page 117 of the third book. A button is an interactive area on the horse's body, which Sharon identified based upon watching horses talk to other horses. The buttons indicate specific intentions, wants, and needs, and also add to group dynamics. Each button has its own range of meaning, and a collection of buttons, all used at once, contain a certain refined communication, usually targeting a specific agenda. All you have to do is observe horses, as we covered in other chapters, to see them using the buttons to communicate with each other. Human beings have long co-opted many of these hotspots for our own uses, depending on the training system or systems you use. In horse speak, we use them to have conversations. The thing about the buttons is that a horse can communicate with them in multiple ways, from one button to another button, or with attention aimed toward a button, looking at one or pointing the muzzle toward one, for example. The focus of attention between the buttons depends upon the horses involved and the intention between them. For instance, let's say a horse wants to buddy up with his pal, which is shoulder button. He will aim the flat surface of his shoulder at his friend's shoulder button and perhaps yield his head away. This creates a beckoning gesture and also removes intensity. It would be like patting the chair next to you and leaning away from your friend to make room and invite her to sit down. In fact, although the buttons are the seat of intention of a gesture, posture, or signal, the horse moves his body in relation to the button he is displaying and responds to the buttons being displayed by other horses at the same time. Because we need to learn to recognize these displays and also gesture toward buttons in order to talk to our horses, let's review the location of all these buttons, which we've already done. So I'm going to jump ahead. And so we have the bridge of the nose button, which is in the third book, which is at the bridge of the nose. Basically where the flat of the halter or cavesson sits on their nose. This button is located at the same main contact point of where the strap of the halter sits on the horse's nose. If I just read, we would have learned this. This sensitive, subtle, and nuanced button has different meaning than the friendly button, which is under the horse's forelock, and is geared to invite deep trust and intimacy with the entire body of the horse. It is located on the skull. Its location on the skull sets up a powerful message that is felt through the entire skeleton of the horse. This zone is basically delicate bone and a thin layer of flesh with some cartilage that expands toward the nostrils. Engaging with this button induces deep flexion into all the joints and scoops the horse's energy into collection when you target it while moving either backward or forward. This button can also be used when two horses are playing and one wants to lower the intensity. Think of it as two people wrestling for fun, and one puts up a hand and says, "Whoa, that's enough. Let's quit this." Excuse me. The bridge of the nose button is primarily used to request calming down, getting centered, and resetting. Note that this button is extremely refined and powerfully emotional. We put halters right on top of it, so many horses have become cautious and even defensive about letting us touch it. Move slowly and carefully. Once a horse trusts you to use and hold the bridge of the nose, they begin to find a very deep zero. Sharon likes to say they get melty. It can be used to direct the intensity or energy of a horse, such as one pressing this button with his lips or aiming his eyes at it to create a yield. My cat is distracting me. Yield of the space in front of the horse. This is most often done when a youngster needs to back down and concede space to an elder. In humans, it would be like a coach placing a firm palm on the shoulder of a player who needs to settle himself. Mostly, it is an unusual or special situation button for horses to use with each other. But due to the position of the nose bands on the halters and bridles, it's overly used by us. Sharon has been able to translate our use of this button into something that reinforces manners, aids emotional value, and enhances well-being and health for the horse. And pardon me, we are going to flip ahead to the sit button. There's a lot more on the buttons in this book, just so you know. Sorry, there we go. Sit button. This button is located in the groove of the horse's hind leg. It is both an emotional and practical button, similar to the backup button, and in fact, in alignment with the action of the backup button, as well as the bridge of the nose. If the horse backs up well, he also sits down. The joints in the hind leg of the horse mirror the joints along the same plane in the front leg of the horse. They are all capable of folding, rearing, bucking, leaping, and jumping. They become stiff and inflexible when the horse feels stressed, and supple and strong in a horse who is in a good athletic form. Horses use this button to mean sit down, take a load off, such as when preparing to lie down. It is used as a correction when one horse bites another offending horse in this zone to say, sit down and cut it out. Stallions nibble mares here as a request during mating. Sit down and don't kick. A mare may bite her foal on this button when he has become too playful. Fighting horses can bite here in effort to injure the area and end the fight. Playful geldings will sometimes nibble at the sit button as part of gotcha game, and when mares duke it out over hierarchy, they often kick at the sit button. For our purposes, all advanced riders use this button whether they know it or not. Jumpers, reining horses, cutting horses, dressage horses, and even endurance horses, due to the steep terrain that they often traverse, all sit down to collect. This button can mean power up or power down. The sit button gathers power and it coils it into the rest of the horse's body. Holding the sit button can help the horse's head and neck relax too. Some people have reported their horses suddenly become very heavy in their hands when they hold them at this button, almost as if they were literally going to sit on their owner's lap. The two new buttons Sharon introduced, the bridge of the nose and the sit down button, are actually bookends of the other 13 buttons. Both these buttons carry meanings, can be very emotional for the horse, and are affected by each other. Interestingly, we often use these buttons the most without any awareness of potential power of them. Pressure on the bridge of the nose goes all the way to the sit down reflex. Sitting causes the bridge of the nose to want to tuck in toward the chest because of the intrinsic connection. Horses use these two buttons for some of the most tender messages and the most severe. So here we are. That was page 151 or 150 to 152 of book number 3. So here we are. Now we're open for discussion now that we've learned about buttons. We got a little sneak peek into the 3rd book. And yeah, so if you would like to speak on the audio, please feel free to raise your hand and I will get you on the audio. Or if you would just like to comment about the reading in the chat, then we can go from the chat. So I actually just love the enhanced verbiage of the 3rd book from the basics that Sharon had put forth in the 1st book. It's so neat. I started off saying that, and to really realize how much each button has meaning emotionally, physically, in the herd dynamic. It's so neat. And this is part of, having patience to deeply understand each button and its meaning is the practice, and not to feel like just because you don't know where the sit down button is, it's okay. We're all learning this together. Let's see. Sharon has been mentioning more info about the follow me button recently. Can you elaborate? Yes, I can show you book 2 and 3. Pardon me. Yeah, and even now with like the grooming button, for example, and we have a question about the follow me button. If you're on the club, the other club, where we go over our customers' videos, welcome to the Horse Speak Club, where our members are the stars and our horses, our members' horses are stars too. We go over varied topics that are relative to the videos that get sent in. So not only do you get the up-to-date things that Sharon's been thinking about in the back of her mind, we also then can apply any and all of the knowledge within HorseSpeak during these club meetings. So it's not like a linear learning experience like we're experiencing right now with the books. It's definitely all over the place, but it's a great way. It's how I was able to advance and enhance my understanding of the work of HorseSpeak because of the practice of watching videos forward and backward and in slow motion. So then you can start to see how one foot placement plays a huge role in a conversation. So first things first is we have Horse Speak number 1, the Horse Speak book, the Equine Human Translation Guide. And then we have Horse Speak number 2, Horses in Translation. So this is a collaboration of stories based on true life events. Names and horses' names have been changed, but they are based on real live experiences that Sharon has had. This is the type of book that you can curl up next to the fire and enjoy because it is story-based with all of the terminology within HorseSpeak. Pardon me. And then we do have Essential HorseSpeak, which is the newest book that was released a couple years ago. And this is the Holy Moly, continuing the conversation, the dictionary of the gestures, postures, and signals. There's a lot of problem-solving things in this book. And then we also do have the First Conversations DVD, which is actually available for streaming. If you go to trafalgarsquare.com, you can get that in streaming because most of us don't have a DVD player. So there's that. So those are different ways to learn from the books. And then we do have online courses that you can check out as well. So with the follow me button, as the book mentioned, it is one of the primary buttons that Mama has used to ask the baby to follow, because it's very important when baby hits the ground. And this thing that Sharon says is like, baby is meat on feet. Baby, you must get up because we have to start moving because of the birth especially, in the wild. So let's just say it's a wild herd, which we have had the honor to meet wild tarpon in Germany, as well as the wild conic over in the Netherlands. Um, and we were there with the conics on a day in which the two babies were born like 2 hours before we arrived. Not this past summer, but the summer before. And so it is a keynote button for the baby to listen to mama, to follow her, because they need to get out of where the birth happened, because of the birthing process creates blood, which then predators are sniffing around to find blood, right? They'll be like, oh, we can find something to eat here. So this button can be a button that does get defensive. If a horse has had some kind of bad experience, the horse could be like, nope, I'm not going to follow you. So the more that if you have a horse who is defensive of that button, meaning pulling it away, then you can, from a distance, have your hand similar to this, which is like a cupping, um, like a soft hand, and you can kind of massage it in the air. And what we're doing is we have the term rock the baby. So you're kind of rocking the baby and you're saying, oh, you could follow me. And if they said, nope, I can't, okay, no problem. Let's step further away. And can you follow me from 10 feet away? So this button, the halter sits on the back at the pole on this button. So some horses, depending, again, they could have been pulled to get going. And some, people have gotten accidentally into that habit of pulling the horse forward. So then they're getting dragged, their face is getting pulled forward. And injury can happen. Just like for us, this is the occipital area is so delicate. And so if they've had a lot of people pull on them, then they're going to be like, listen, I can't follow you. I need to actually move from my hip. So cranial to sacral. Okay, so can you follow me from your hip, which is the engine of the horse? So we want movement coming from their hip, not from their face. So when we can pay attention to how are we asking the horse to go in forward movement, we want to ask them to actually change their lean to the side. Because when a horse moves, they're going to move their head and they're going to take the, sorry, my brain, they're going to shift their weight to one side. Because if a horse is standing still straight on, they can't just move, they have to shift their weight. And so that's one of the nuances that we want to notice in that power of the one thing. Hey, can you follow me? Scoot my hand forward and let's go. And then if they might be like, hold on a minute, I have to readjust my whole entire body so that I can take the weight off of one of my front feet so I can actually lift that front foot. So this button it's so powerful when the horse is wanting to follow me. And we can take it into sentences like if a horse is up, for example, they kind of maybe got triggered by something in the environment, be like, follow me. Grooming, which we've enhanced to feel better, feel good. So follow me, let's feel better. Hip, I've got your back. And sit, take a load off, for example. We don't have to be all stressed. So it's so neat to be able to start putting the buttons together and with the meanings and the sayings that Sharon has especially put into the third book. So that it's even like, follow me, cheek, neck, shoulder, buddy. Girth, line up with me. Let's go. Can we go forward? And so that means that we're asking the front end to come with us. And then we can even girth, jump up, hip. Let's go forward. So I hope that answers your question. It was kind of all over the place. I apologize. Thank you so much. There was also something about the height of the button as a form of communication. I'm not following you, but I'm doing what you say, or I'm following you. So if so, yes, X and O posture in the horse. So if the horse's head goes up, that's X. I can't follow you. So then we're saying, hey, follow me. So massaging like in the air, follow me down. Can I offer you to follow me down into more of a neutral head, which is more of a straight neck versus up in the air? So then there, because if their head goes up, there's what's stressed. And so is it internal boogeyman? Like, I can't follow you. Or is there a boogeyman in the environment? So then, kind of what happened before, during, and after the situations. That's why it's so important to film yourself to see, oh, your head went up when I asked you to put the halter on. Oh, how interesting. You can't follow me with the halter. Okay. Or the bridle or any other kind of equipment. Because if the head goes up, I'm not sure about this. So then how can we reverse engineer that to have them be in more of a yes posture and an O neutral posture? So yeah, and everything means something. So it is the there's no ordinary moments. As soon as you show up, the lesson is begun. The conversation has started. So if the head does go up when you approach, for example, be like, oh, am I zero? I always look at myself if the head goes up and things I might be in task tunnel vision. I have to hurry up and do this thing. It's like, okay, let me take a step back. Can I help you lower your head? So let's see. Sally, I see that you raised your hand. Just give me a second. Okay, I think I got that. Yes, with the question of do humans have buttons similar to the horses? Yes. So this would be our follow me. This is vulnerability. Our friendly button, which we don't want to really, unless you feel safe, rub your forehead on forehead, because that could be an accident waiting to happen. No one wants to get bonked, especially if you've had sinus surgery. You don't want to hurt yourself. So yes, we do have corresponding buttons. If you get on all fours, so on your knees and on your hands, basically our skeleton is in alignment with a horse's skeleton. So we have our yield over button, we've got our sit down buttons. So yeah, absolutely. And all the videos are recorded. Yes, thank you, Danuta, for the club. Yes, we have almost 5 years now of the Horse Speak Club. So we have hundreds and hundreds of videos. So you have access to that. It's only $30 a month to be able to do that. Let's see. Yes, have fun with the farrier. Do you know what Sharon thinks of rope halters? Yes, rope halters are similar to they're a refined tool that one can use to help you be lighter on the lead rope. And perhaps if you have a pulling horse, like meaning they drag you around, it can help the horse self-correct because of the knots on the bridge of the nose do put in a little bit of extra bite into that area. So it's like it can be overused and it can be a little bit hurtful to the horse because the rope halter, if doing a rope shake or some kind of big gesture, can think about it's all about physics and triangles. And so I'm not a physics major, but I understand equal opposite reactions. And so if you have fine hands and you do the lightest thing, it can really help you be refined because you're not going to want to put any extra pressure onto the horse's face. Our horse, Bo, that we rescued 2 years ago, he was drag a person kind of horse. And so I decided that instead of using the flat halter, because a flat halter can unfortunately it just gives them more leverage to be like, I'm just going to plow into this because there isn't any like self-correction ability because it's just a soft feel over the bridge of the nose. But as soon as I put that rope halter on him, he started pulling into himself and he was like, "Oh, I don't like that." And he was able to correct himself without me having to do any corrections with him and for him. So he would stop pulling. So it's just like a choke collar for a dog. If you have good timing with a choke chain with a dog, it can be a really great tool. But if you don't have good timing and feel with a choke chain with a dog, it can be a little bit hurtful. So it's like knowing your tool and knowing how to use it um, with the finest hands, because that's even with a bit. The bits are for fine work, for the nuances of just a little bit of shift in your hands, a little bit of shift of weight in your body, so that you're not pulling on these metal pieces in their mouth. Because and you can do your own research about, the effects of a bit. If it's over cranked on, you can unfortunately hurt their mouths. So you just never know. Let's see. Some horses also appreciate the more information a rope halter can offer if it is used with care and consideration. Yes, thank you, PJ, for that. Absolutely. All right, and that looks like it's it for this. Now, let's see. Mustang Sally, what do you have to say today?
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
Howdy.
Um, so much to say. First of all, thank you for this.
Oh, you're
This
welcome.
is so fun. And I've actually been looking at my Italian version of the first book and following along.
Oh, fun.
So far. um, but uh, it's funny. I don't remember. I wasn't on the first three, and I was listening to them, and cannot remember who said it, but she was saying that Rocky said, "Good, now we'll start again." Right?
Yes.
I
Yes.
can't remember who that was. Sorry,
Yeah,
but
Miss said that. Yeah.
yeah, that's what I feel like. It's. I mean, I feel like I know way more than I did, but like, and then we talk about this stuff, and I'm like, oh my God, there's way so much more, in a good way.
Mhm.
But in terms of like combos of buttons, I actually was sort of proud of myself because I used to do the cheek, neck, shoulder, and girth with my horse to ask him to come with me.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, I don't know how it sort of came to mind, but I decided to try cheek, neck, uh, wait, cheek, neck, shoulder, follow me button.
Mhm.
And he started to walk.
Sweet.
But yeah, and you just said about asking the hind end to move, which I'm going to try because, he's pretty ouchy there.
Right.
And I'm wondering if maybe he needs me to say, hey, can you take, this is okay. Can you move with me? I don't know. As a combo, as the cheek, neck, shoulder,
See,
hiney.
follow me, cheek, neck, shoulder, girth, jump up, hip,
Right. Okay. Follow me, cheek, neck, shoulder, girth, jump
jump
up, hip.
up,
Okay.
hip.
All
Yeah.
right. The whole
The
spiel.
whole
Yeah.
thing, the whole top line. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But I
And
mean,
also you could add and then feel good about it at the wither
okay.
and even lift
Oh, okay.
like marionette string we talk about, lift the
Uh-huh.
wither
Uh-huh.
and just don't do task tunnel vision and go fast. Like wait for him to respond. Because you just basically
Right.
you knighted. That's not the word. You
Uh, activated.
activated. Thank you. Thank you, Alexis. Yeah. Activated his whole body, right? So
Yep.
then he's like, okay,
Yep.
he may, because he does have some discomfort, need time
Yeah.
to activate all of his buttons.
Well, he does seem to take a little longer, which is fine. I mean, I'll do like a turn the key, come to me,
Yeah.
and five other horses will walk to me, and he'll be looking at me still.
Yeah.
but also, I just want to say thank you again, but for everything. I mean, this is so rich. It's amazing how much you learn like the first level, and then there's more, and then there's more, and then there's more, and it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so, so good. So thank
But
you for
wait, there's
this.
more. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's with like students who have been with us since basically day one. There's, and myself included, are still learning, and Sharon included also, because the first
Yeah,
set us up as the foundation.
right.
And then it's like apply, 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 meet all these different horses. And then it's just like make notes. And, it's incredible. It's
Mhm.
this giant spider web of possibilities.
Fabulous.
The horses are talking. They are talking.
I want to be caught in that spider web my whole life.
Great.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for being here today.
Oh, thanks. I'm sorry I was a little late getting
There's
here,
no
but
judgment. Late
yeah.
there's not even a word. Things happen, especially if you're a horse owner. You have animals, whatever.
Yeah.
If you're
Yep.
late, it's like you show up at the end and it's all over.
Thank
No
you.
worries. All right, darling. Well, it's nice to hear your voice. And yeah, keep
Always.
following along in the Italian version and let us
Yeah,
know
I
what
will.
the conversation is.
Yeah, I read through it, but it helps. Like I'm going through it now to just make sure that it's saying what you guys were trying to say. So
Cool.
it's so far so good.
Sweet. That's beautiful.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
Sally. Thank you so much.
Mwah. Love you.
Love you too. All right. And Danuta. Let's see. Allow. Whoops. Things are moving around here. All right.
Hi,
Hi, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you. I'm looking forward to tomorrow.
Yes,
Um,
you're going to bed with us and waking up with us. It's so cool.
well,
Thank
hopefully I've got my video tomorrow as well,
Oh,
if you've got
yes. Perfect.
cool. Okay, so all I wanted to say was that it's amazing how, like so many times we're taught to do things without actually understanding why.
Mm.
So for example, um, like I've had like horse instructors tell me, oh, don't pull the horse, get them off balance, so pull them sideways. But it was always pull them sideways. It was never how you've explained it and how Sharon explains it, you know, ask them to shift their weight.
Mm.
It was always, oh, get them off balance. And that's not a very polite way of doing it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's, yeah, but as there's all these things that I think it was in the book that all these cues that we're taught, but we don't understand why
Yeah.
and how to use them with consideration for the horse.
Yes. I
And
love it.
and also like on my Facebook page, because I do all these drawings of my horses talking to me, and people say, "Oh wow, that's amazing," but it is amazing. But what's more amazing is that we as humans don't stop and actually look and listen to our horses and watch them talk to us because
Yeah.
because if we actually just stopped and listened and looked, then that every single horse is amazing and they've got something to say. And yeah, I just love it.
Perfect. I'm glad you love it so much because Sharon and I love what we do. And it's such an honor to answer the whys. Like, why are we doing this? Or and taking the feeling like pull on your horse or get them going, like knock them off balance, which sounds like, doesn't sound nice. So
No,
it's how to basically say the same thing, like ask them to rebalance themselves so they can actually step forward.
yeah,
Because they have to rearrange their whole body. And slowing down and seeing where their weight distribution is can then help you activate buttons. Be like, oh, I see that you have all your weight is on your right hind foot. How can I ask you to shift your weight forward and to the side to have you move? So yeah, it's like that's the gift that Sharon has given to everybody is answering those whys and know like exactly and specifically what people who are look like magic are doing with their horse. You know, you watch on YouTube videos and stuff, these lovely videos. And when you slow it down, you can see exactly and specifically what buttons they're using. Are they in O posture and they're X posture? Are they using a hold hand? Are they activating? Like we can start dissecting what they're doing. And they're doing it unconsciously because their body is naturally encoding and decoding. And that's why some folks who have played sports, like a team sport, can pick up horse speak innately because you've practiced moving in and out of bubbles of personal space. Or you've done dance or cheerleading or what have you. You have your body, your nervous system is used to reading, decoding, and encoding body language. So yeah, and that's the people who are doing some really cool stuff. That's exactly what they're doing. And they've
Yeah.
learned different patterns that seem to work, but they're not but we can define those patterns and teach everyone out there who's listening about what you can do specifically. And that's the empowering thing for you. And because it doesn't matter that Sharon can direct 3 horses who are not zero and have them stop. That doesn't do you any good, but we can help you be able to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's really cool.
it is really cool
Even for somebody who hasn't done team sports and stuff like that.
because you don't need to, because then you can still learn it. And that's the thing,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, because it might take a little longer or what have you, but no matter what, any person can learn to do this. And it does start with ourselves to be aware that our body is affecting another body.
Yeah.
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 And how to adjust
It's
the
cool.
volume. And you're doing a great job with your horses. It's so lovely to see what you're doing and how your body language has evolved. And we look forward to chatting with you later.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I think I've improved slightly. I
Doing
hope
great.
so.
We don't be mean to ourselves. That's one of the other rules of horse speak.
That's a hard one.
All right. All right, darling. Thank you so much for coming on the audio today.
Okay. Thank you.
Cheers. You're welcome. All right. Danuna lives in Australia, so she's about to go to bed. And this in the morning, on her morning, she's going to wake up and be on the Horse Speak Club with us. So it's really cool. Nancy.
I just wanted to share. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to share when I was first reading the Horse Speak book, how wonderful it was when you got to the part where the horse turned their head away.
Mm.
And I just got that my first aha moment because I thought, oh, my horse doesn't want me there. And to know that that was a giving space moment that the horse was giving, possibly a beckoning gesture. But I was so floored because people don't know that. They often say, oh, my horse doesn't like me. They turn their head away.
Right. Yeah, because it's an invitation that they're like, hey, and it's kind of like if people are watching, you do that too as a person, be like, hey, come over here. And so you technically turn your head and your neck and pop your shoulder. Hey, come on in. It's so we're doing this a similar gesture, but yeah, people have perceived that as like the horse doesn't want to talk to me. And
Yeah.
so when you can switch, so thank you for bringing that in because that is a huge aha moment for a lot of folks that they're popping their shoulder. Hey, buddy, come on over. What is Sharon says like the water is great over here or something. I forget exactly what she says, but we can hang out and be friends.
It changes the whole dynamics.
Yeah, it's like you're my friend. Come on over. Let's be buddies together. It
So
does
that
change.
was all. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, darling. Thank you for your comment. It's a really important one. So I appreciate you bringing that in. All right, I'm going to get to the chats and we just have a few more minutes here because you know, if you've been on the Horse Speak Club on the Tuesdays the original club, we can go for a really long time, but we're practicing our time boundaries with the book club because I do have other things to do in between my next club meeting. Let's see here. What should I do if a horse is very protective of the friendly button? So the friendly button, yes. So with any button that the horse might be a little bit shy about, you can practice just putting your palm, or if they're super sensitive, the back of your hand at a distance. So let's say you're 5 feet away from the horse, be like, hey, do an air greeting. And then, hi, can I talk to your friendly button? The back of the hand. And notice what happens. So this is something you could film to notice the changes within the body that the horse is might have during this suggestion, because I want to talk to your friendly button. And you could even start at the bridge of the nose first. Hey, can I put my hand towards the bridge of your nose? And then take it away. And it's basically get into the bubble and get out. Hello, goodbye. Hello, goodbye. And so then you can work your way closer to actually making contact. And one of these things, if the horse is like, don't get greedy. So it's like, hello, meaning I'm going to step into the bubble. I'm going to put my hand, back of my hand toward a button and pull yourself away just for a second. Go in and get out. So then you're building trust in the connection of the buttons so that they can know that you're not going to grab them or whatever, because we don't know what has happened with the horse previously. So we want to respect that they might have a story involved with their friendly button or follow me button or the bridge of the nose. These face buttons are ones that can be a little bit hesitant, and even the cheek can be hesitant for horses. So you say hello and move away. And the biggest is just working from a distance and even over a fence, because that separates your nervous system. So if you start getting a little tense, you're not in the bubble of personal space with the horse. They have liberty to go to leave and then perhaps circle back around. So that's what you can try to do. And the other part is it's in the third book. It's like peekaboo. So like peekaboo. And so toward the friendly button, hey, peekaboo. So it brings in this more of a playful sensation within our nervous system versus like, I want to touch your friendly button. So how we can and let go of wanting, if that's with any button, if it is showing like, don't touch me, letting go of the wanties is so important, because then you can be free inside of yourself to not get into predator mode. Because they sense that, be like, I want to catch you. Like I did have to catch my little hinny Tina because her belly strap was off and she's very hesitant. And so how can I had to bring some enrichment to her to be like, hey, I do need to like touch your halter and put you on a lead rope. And so I did involve food to create just an extra oomph in the connection with her, because she does appreciate resources. And so and with people who work with donkeys and hinnies, like food is definitely a thing that does help them feel more trusting. And especially when it's a have to, how to make it feel like it's safe and it's enticing. So yes, you're going to get food for this. And we did more enrichment after we got her on the lead rope. We asked her to come with us a little bit. So it's really neat to just have a playful sensation in our body, but not crazy. We don't want to be like, let's get the horsey. We want to make sure that we stay in a neutral, calm way in our body, even if we're bringing in a playful energy like peekaboo. So let's see. Thank you so much. How and why is our practice? Yes, exactly. So I'm going to have to say, I'm going to read these other comments really fast, and then we're going to shut it down for the day. This book club is great. I know with my elementary school kids, discussion is the best way to attach new information into our brains. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. Behavioral science looks at proximate and ultimate, how and why behavior occurs. This is exactly what Sharon has done. Absolutely. So when the horse turns their head, when you have the halter, it's is still that an invitation? Absolutely. Yes. They might actually want you on the other side. Or could be a reminder about safety or space in context. Yes, that too. And so Violet, I see your message that if you can, I will just copy that for PJ. Just a second, because that was to me. And so I will send that to her. Oops, did that work? No, it did not. Sorry. Logistical thing. Bing, bing, bing. Okay. Sometimes we can be surprised. Our horses, once we have a conversation about something else, can offer a new button to tell us about how they feel about things. Absolutely. Yeah, and that's like the keynote of filming yourself with doing anything with the horses, because then you can go back and see what happened. Because so much is happening, so many buttons are topping talking at the same time. So yeah, it's the best way to learn, and just be objective with yourself. Try to not judge yourself. Try not to shame yourself. This is a learning experience and it's supposed to be fun. We're supposed to have fun. That's what this is all about. So thank you so much for being here. And so it was a pleasure sharing space with you today. We want to give you the gift that horses gave to Sharon, which is the exact and specific nuances of how our body language can communicate clearly with horses. And all we need to do is take the time to learn how. If you'd like to learn more about in-person and online learning opportunities, visit horsespeakacademy.com. May you enjoy the journey of learning horse speak and having fun while doing so. Enjoy the rest of your day. Take care, and we love you.